So as we go ahead and you can ask questions if needed. Since it's not a meeting, I can't like hear you ask the questions. So type them in there as we go and I'll try to answer those. Okay, so this shouldn't take us too long, but I just wanted to make sure everybody has the information they need to apply for the LGBTQ plus housing, as well as have any questions answered they might need in order to make decisions about how to move forward with applications and such. So I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing my screen so I can show you the application and we'll sort of walk through it. So let me make sure this will work. Okay. Can somebody tell me in the question Q&A if they can see my screen and you see the application? Great. Thanks, Connor. All right, so here's the application. It is on SurveyMonkey. At the top is the URL. So you guys can go ahead and if you want to copy, well, you can't copy and paste it, you're not on my screen. If you want to go ahead and write down what that is so you can go ahead and start working on the application. Technically, the applications aren't opening for, I don't know, to the whole campus for a couple more days. But since you're here, I'll show you the application. You can go ahead and start filling it out. So that way, if there are any issues that pop up, you can let me know before we open it to campus. So here's the application. It talks about what the LGBTQ plus community is. It's interest-based housing. It gives you a living learning experience where you can explore common interest and live in a safe, supportive environment with an RA who's supportive of your needs. So Connor Trimborn will be serving as the RA again next year. And so we're going to continue having the housing in Lynn Hall, second floor, up in the, what are we calling it? The loft, is that what y'all call it? The loft, I think. So yeah, let's see, Q&A, we're still good. All right, so Lynn Hall, the cost is here on the screen for next year, and that's for the full year, both terms. And then the applications are due no later than Monday, April 6th. So you have quite a bit of time, but better to work on it now, get it turned in, so you don't have to worry about it, especially with everything going on. Then the special, or the interest-based housing committee will meet on Zoom, review all the applications, and then you'll find out by April 7th, by 5 o'clock, what your housing is, were you approved, so on and so forth. So this is just general information on the first page. The second page, you're going to be asked your full name, what gender do you identify with, what's your student ID number, and then you're telling us what class year you'll be in the fall. Cumulative GPA, we're only going to use that if it's like we can't decide between two people and we need to make some sort of tough decision. So that is not being included in decisions initially, and if at all possible. Do you have someone you want to live with? Yes or no? If it's yes, I need to know their name. Give me their full name just in case there's two people with the same first name or something like that. And then it needs to be mutual and both residents have to apply. So if you know you want to live with someone, put their name down, make sure they fill this out and put your name down too. And then if you don't know who the roommate is, and this definitely happens and that is totally okay, you tell me if you are willing to be matched with someone who has applied for the community who also doesn't have a roommate. And you will tell me yes or no. And there's some folks who are applying for medical singles in this community. So if you have applied for that, I want to know so that we can see kind of where we stand on that. Knowing that it's not all medical singles will necessarily be granted, but our goal is to do that. But we won't have any paid singles that aren't medical available next year. And then we ask the question, do you wish to live with a gender neutral restroom? Note that the restrooms in the suites are single stall, single shower. And then do you wish to live in a gender inclusive suite? What that means is you're okay with whatever gender or not gender there is living in the suite, whatever is okay with you. If the answer is no, that's okay. We just need to know then what gender suite do you wish to live with? And then there's an essay portion. So there's a place where what I would suggest is type it in a Word file, because we're saying 500, 750 words, and that would be kind of wild to type in on just like a box on the screen. So there's a place to upload a file talking about how it will be beneficial to you to live in LGBTQ plus community. So we will be reviewing those blindly with names removed so that we can ensure that whatever you decide to share is completely confidential. And once we decide that an application is granted, we'll remove those essays and just see names of who has been granted, essentially. So we will make our selections based off of an express need to live in the gender inclusive community, and that we understand that like you have a expressed desire and need to live in the space so you feel safe and secure on campus. And so part of the essay needs to be how will it provide you with an opportunity that traditional housing does not. So give us examples of that. And then what are some ideas you have for programming in the community for next year? And then the rest of the application is just the nuts and bolts kind of stuff. We ask that you review the housing terms and conditions. That's the housing contract. It looks like this. It is on my Hanover. There's a link to get to it, but it essentially is just the, you know, legalese about living on campus, and you need to agree to that on the application. And then you're going to tell me that everything you submitted is that you submitted it, that you're telling me the truth, everything's accurate, et cetera, et cetera. Then we're going to have you enter in your full initials, agreeing to everything. One of the reasons we're doing this is now that we're moving all applications online instead of on a paper copy where you turn it in person since everyone's leaving campus, we want to make sure that people who are submitting their applications are who they say they are. Let's say some silly person decides to apply for Greenwood with their friends, but one of their friends doesn't really want to live there. They could submit an application in theory for a friend. So we want to make sure that we know that people are who they say they are. They might not know their friend's middle name. This way we make sure it is who they say they are. And then typing your full name, which serves as your digital signature. And we're going to need to use digital signatures because, again, no paper copies, not in person, all going online. Okay, so that is the application. Let me see if I can find my Q&A. Where did it go? Where's my Q&A? Well, where are you? Bear with me a moment. Okay, I'm gonna stop my screen share. See, oh, here we are. All right, great. Okay, so I've got my Q&A open. What questions do you all have for me about the application process or about the community? What questions are there that maybe things you're concerned about, things you want to make sure you are made aware of, anything like that? If you could put them on the Q&A, we will get those answered. Okay, so Mac is wondering, Mac is planning on living with Connor next year, asking, should you still apply for the housing? Yes, please go ahead and do that, because we want to make sure you meet all the criteria, we're treating everyone fairly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely please do that. I'm assuming the signed paper you're talking about is the roommate contract, is that correct? Great, yes, please give that to me in the morning. You can turn it in at the front desk if I'm not present. All right, what other questions? Give you a few minutes to think. Okay, so question about on your application, should you use your preferred name or do you have to use a legal name? Feel free to use preferred name. And while you're asking that question, here's a sort of little tip for campus. We can start using your preferred name however and whenever you'd like. So if you would like to switch to your preferred name in like when you send emails or in showing up on your faculty's roster so they can start realizing that this is your name, You can go ahead and if you'd like a new ID, you can come see me and we can print a new ID with your preferred name. And then to get sort of your email and faculty member notifications and things like that, change to your preferred name, you just need to contact the registrar's office. So the best person to contact is Summer Hawkins. She's their administrative coordinator over there, and she can go ahead and set you up to where preferred name is what starts showing on everything except for financial aid because the government makes us use birth names. But yes, go ahead and use preferred name. I will look at last names if I need to confirm something, but I'm not worried about that. Okay, good question. This came up last year during the application review. Are people given the space on the application to specify a person they do not want to live with, and how would that be handled? Yes, if there's someone that you cannot live with who you know is applying, please feel free in the part that says, let me pull up the application again. We'll just walk through it. I think that would make sense. You'll see all my millions of surveys here in a second. Okay. Let's say when it asks you, do you have someone you want to live with? If it's yes, of course, tell me who it is. If it's no, and you want to make sure it's not a particular person, you know what? I'll go ahead and add a question now before anyone submits this so that that is on there. I think that makes a lot of sense. Like us to be okay, so that's on there. Let's see. Okay, is that helpful? Does that sound good to everyone? Someone say yes, no. Yeah, okay, great. All right, other questions? Okay, while you're thinking, if you do have others, I'll open it up too, just because of the circumstances we're in. If folks have other questions about anything, especially with all we're going through right now, if you have questions that you'd like to just try to get an answer to because you're wondering or you're stressed or worried, you can shoot those on here too, and I'd be willing to answer if I have information that I can share. No one has any burning questions? Okay, great. Are juniors going to be able to get their May term credits too? Because mine is CCR and I'm going to die if I can't get it. Mac, you're not going to die. I promise you. But what I have been made aware of is that they're going to grant waivers for things if it's not going to be possible to get it done in time to graduate, even if you're not a senior. So let's say it's a CCR, it's not offered again, or you can't fit it, or what have you. They're going to grant waivers for that. It'll probably involve a petition where you explain this is why that happened, this is what's going on. But they are planning on ensuring that no one graduates late or has to pay any additional money to ensure that they have their credits for graduation. So that's for sure. So don't worry about that. Other questions? Any significant changes happening in the hall in terms of policies or anything? Are you talking about for LGBTQ plus housing next year? Yes. No significant changes. No significant policy changes. Unless there's something that I just am not thinking of, I have no intention of there being any changes. As an FYI, sort of looking forward into next term, I will be out on maternity leave for probably until November-ish, depending on when I have my baby. So if there are questions about residence life type things, Teresa Hitchcock is going to be who you would want to contact while I'm away. And then if there are questions while I'm away about sort of housing related facilities, sort of nuts and bolts type things, then Casey Heckler will be managing that. So if things pop up while I'm away, you're in good hands, and I'm going to leave them with tons of information so that they can help you all out if something happens. Any other questions? All right. If anybody has questions that they didn't want to ask tonight, certainly feel free to shoot me an email. I'm going to be on email tonight, and tomorrow and for eternity. But if you have questions, go ahead and let me know via email, and we can deal with that. Okay, another question. People have specific rooms that they would prefer. This is good. Okay. So if you do have a preference of room, I think what we'll go ahead and do is once we know everyone who's been accepted to live in the community next year, and we know that we're filling spaces and how many rooms we're going to be using, I think what I'll do, and Connor, hopefully this is okay with you, I will send Connor a floor plan, and then Connor can go ahead and decide, working with everybody involved, who goes into what room. I'm sure there will be some seniority that's involved with that, with folks who have lived there before, having first choice, things like that. But I'll kind of let Connor make those choices about how the filling in rooms on the floor plan would work. Is that okay with you, Connor? Great, super. So that's what we'll do. So yes, possible to request specific rooms, like Elijah really wants one with a beam, so we can make that happen hopefully. Are there ones with beams on the second floor in the loft? I don't even know. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, great. Cool. Good. 203A has the beam. So Elijah, write that down. All right. Other questions? What's up with the dog head behind me? Dog head? I don't have a dog head. Where do you see? This? Is it this? That's a mirror. That's a mirror. That's a mirror. It's gold and it has a bow on it. Do you see it? No, they can't see. I also have a deer head, but I don't think you can see it in there. Not a dog. Not a dog. Yep, I'm at my house. It's a bow and it's a gold mirror. Other questions? All right, I don't see any right now. I'll keep it open for a few more minutes, just in case. But again, email me if you do have questions and we'll get them answered as soon as we can. But again, make sure those applications are in on time by April 6th. And then I believe April 6th in the evening or April 7th, one of those days we're having the meeting set with the selection committee, and we'll get our responses to you really, really quickly so you know exactly where you stand with everything. All right. If you don't have any more questions, you can feel free to leave the webinar. If you do and you want to stick around, that's fine for a few minutes. And once everyone leaves, then I will leave as well. And then of course, if you know somebody who couldn't make it and really would like to have this information, I have recorded the webinar, so I can just go ahead and send that to them, hopefully. And if not, you can share this information with them as well. And then I will be sending out in the next week or two, after I have all the info sessions, all of the application links and things like that for folks who may not have been able to make it, didn't know they were interested quite yet or something, so they can go ahead and start applying. Otherwise, thank you. I know things are wild, and so let us know if there are other things we can do to support you between now and when you leave. And then of course, once you get home, if there are ways we can support you from afar, let us know. We're willing to do Zoom conversations. We can still have one-on-one conversations with you. If there are things we can do to support you through transitioning back home, please, 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 please let me know. All right. I will talk to you all soon, and enjoy your night, and feel, if anyone, Connor says if anyone has specific questions about what life has been like in the hall, send them to Connor. Connor will answer them. I would imagine anyone who's lived there this year would be glad to answer those questions too. All right. I'll see y'all later. Thank you. You're welcome.